News. I'm Lewis.
And I'm Jolie. In today's program we have a whole new range of stories for your entertainment.
Our first story is a behind-the-scenes look of Primary News.
Primary News is made up of 9 dedicated grade 6 students
Who have had great NAPLAN and school test results. This is the process we follow to create our reports.
First, we have a brainstorm meeting where we allocate each other with assignments. Then, we plan our writing and draft it. After that, we film and edit and upload it onto the website.
We will now interview Mr. Potesta and some students from Primary News. Mr. Potesta,
Jolie?
why did you decide to start Primary News?
That's a good question. I decided to start Primary News to give grade 5-6 students an opportunity to be in an extension or an enrichment writing group. There's a lot of emphasis put on students to really bring them up to their expected level, but often there's not as much time or effort or programs put into really extending students, so I thought it was a really good opportunity to do some of that stuff, as well as show off some of your skills, because you're all excellent writers. So it was a good opportunity to show off your skills and also integrate and incorporate lots of IT into the program as well.
How did you go about choosing the students?
A couple of ways. I spoke to the grade 5-6 teachers to get an idea on who was writing at above the expected level. The data I also had to use was from last year's VALS assessment, so the writing samples that you did. I also had a quick look at the Year 5 NAPLAN results from last year, and also just general student attitude and commitment to the writing.
Okay. How do you think the progress of the team is going?
Phenomenal. I couldn't have I'm just overwhelmed with how well it's going. I think the level of writing from you guys has been outstanding. I think the feedback that you take on board and then change has been really, really good. I think you're all very open and honest with each other and give each other some really good peer feedback. And I think for the pilot episode went really well.
So would you think that the team that you've made up of Primary News is committed?
I think it's very committed, yeah. And I think the commitment doesn't only just be here at school, but they do lots of work at home as well and lots of research. Yeah, it's been very, very good so far.
Okay. Do you have any plans to continue Primary News, and if so, for how long?
Yes, I do continue to plan it. Plans for it to continue. I'd like to see it go the rest of this year, most definitely, and then the program keeps running. I'd even like to open a very similar, maybe a little program also for the grade 3-4s. Maybe that's a bit more down the track, but definitely see the program continue.
For the program this year, would you be welcome to let anybody else who's up to writing standard come into the program?
Yep, and I think that's a really good part of it. We'll see after mid-year, once we get student report data and see where they're at with their writing. If we have some students who are above the expected level in their writing and they've shown really good commitment in their class and they have lots of enthusiasm with their writing, again I'll meet with the grade 5-6 teachers, and then some more students may be able to come in, so most definitely.
Okay, thank you for your time.
No worries.
And,
Enjoy.
We are now going to interview some students from Primary News. Ben and Michaela, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
So, first question, do you like being involved in Primary News? And if so, why?
Yeah, I do, because it's fun and get to work with computers and write reports and news and things.
I enjoy it because we get to mix with other students and we get to write reports and I like writing. So, yeah.
What new techniques have you learned during your time at Primary News?
I've learnt how to structure news reports and things, and use computers and edit films and film, and yeah.
Well, I've learned how to structure a report and what are the best places to film, and when you film, how stable and your background, and how to edit films.
Do you believe you're committed to this writing route?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks for your time, guys, and hope Primary News goes well.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Hope your time at Primary News goes well.
We hope you enjoyed that report. Our next report will be all about Anzac Day.
It's a very important day for many people around Australia. Anzac Day is where people come together and remember all the soldiers that fought for our country and lost their lives in World War I and World War II.
The soldiers who fought became known as the Anzacs. ANZAC stands for Australian New Zealand Army Corps.
Flowers have been laid on graves and memorials in memory of the dead traditionally. Rosemary, which symbolises remembrance, is popular on Anzac Day.
Laurel, which is a flower, is also a remembrance symbol. It usually gets put into a wreath which we lay on Anzac Day. Ancient Romans used the flower to award winners and honourable people, and this is the reason we put it in our wreaths.
Poppies, which have always been laid on Remembrance Day, 11th of November, is now become common to lay on Anzac Day.
The last post was used in the war to signal to the soldiers of the camp that a duty officer was back from inspection of the site.
Anzac Day marks the anniversary of the time that Australia and New Zealand soldiers fought in military action.
Her name is Caitlin in Canberra,
where she's at the Anzac Day Memorial Service.
I'm Caitlin Harris from Primary News, bringing the news to you. Today we're at Canberra's Australian War Memorial. We have just been inside and listened to the last post and a few speeches. It was very touching and sad. We also looked at the eternal flame and the roll of honour. We found my great-great-uncle who fought in World War I. Stay tuned for some more information.
This is the Roll of Honour and it looks spectacular, as you can see, with all the red poppies. And we have just found my great-great-great-uncle. He fought in World War I from 1914 to 1918. Inside this building is the tomb of the unknown soldier. Out of respect, we're not going to go in there and do the video. Bye.
Thanks for that, Caitlin. That was great. Thanks for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot about Anzac Day.
Now back to the studio.
Thanks for the report, girls. A special thanks to Caitlin, who did the filming on location in Canberra.
Each episode will have a segment called Feature on a Teacher.
Our first feature is on Miss Gishia.
Welcome to Feature on the Teacher. I'm Michaela. And I'm Ali. Today we'll be interviewing one of our 5-6 teachers who came to the school in 2009 and taught prep during her first year at our lovely school. This teacher is none other than our fantastic Miss Emma Gishia. Hey Miss Gishia, how's it going? Today we'll travel back in time. So first of all, we're just going to ask you some questions about your childhood. When and where were you born?
I was born in Melbourne on the 27th of April 1984.
Do you know anything else that was going on around about the time you were born?
Just before I was born, there was a really, really big dust storm in Melbourne, and my mum was working in one of the big office buildings and watched a wall of dust come towards her. So that was pretty funny.
Did you know that the $1 coin was introduced to Australia when you were born?
No, it makes me feel really old.
Can you tell us a bit about your family and where you came from?
I have a mum, dad and a younger brother. He's married and has 2 children. We grew up in Donvale and then moved to Doncaster and then Eltham, and now I live in Menda.
Now we're just going to ask some questions about your schooling. What primary school did you go to and was it close to home?
I went to Eltham East Primary School and it was pretty close to home, but I didn't walk.
How did you get to and from school and why did you go that kind of way?
My mum drove me to and from school, or dad, because I was the first person to get to before school care, and then I was the last person to leave after school care, and it was usually dark.
Did your school have a leadership program?
We didn't have school captains, but we had band captains and choir captains.
Did you know that when you started primary school there was an earthquake of 5.6 magnitude in Newcastle, New South Wales?
Interesting fact.
What secondary school did you go to and where was it?
I went to Templestowe College in Templestowe. It was a really big school. We had over 1,000 people there.
Did you know that when you start secondary school in 1996, Atlanta Summer Olympics were on?
Thanks. Making me feel old.
How did you feel on your first day of high school, and why did you feel that way?
I was really excited to start high school because one of my best friends from primary school was going to the same school and we were in the same class, so that was really fun. I remember my teachers from each of those subjects. Like, I loved my art drove teacher. He was just amazing. He was one of the reasons I wanted to get into teaching, and my English teacher in year 10, 11 and 12.
So who or what influenced you to become a teacher?
My mum had a lot of influence, as well as some of my better teachers at school. She has always enjoyed working with children through scouting, and she got me involved with helping out with the kids, and I really enjoyed it. And I looked at some of my teachers when I was at school, when I was trying to work out what I wanted to do, and I really wanted to be like them.
Do you want to be anything else other than the teacher?
When I was at school, I looked at joining the army. Yeah, I wanted to do radios in the army because it was nice and close to home. And I wanted to be an environmental scientist.
Wow.
Yeah, I got into first year environmental science at uni, and then I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would.
When did you start teaching?
This is my 5th year of teaching, so a few years ago. Again, you're making me feel old.
Well, did you know that the Hurricane Cindy hit the Gulf of Mexico in 2005 when you started teaching?
Again.
Have you taught anywhere other than Wandong? Yes.
No, I did my teaching placements at other schools, but this is the first school that I've taught at.
Have you enjoyed teaching at Wandong? What events have you enjoyed most at Wandong PS?
I love teaching at Wandong. I really love doing Wakihiri and production. That's lots and lots of fun. We did Bushwazee last year, which is fun. I like all the performing sort of stuff because I just like performing, I guess.
Do you have any goals that you would like to achieve this year or in the future, and if so, what are they?
Well, I'd like to plan my wedding without getting really, really stressed. That's my personal goal. And at school, I'm just happy seeing everyone improve, all my students improve, and have a good year, and graduate with a lot of fun.
Thank you for your time, Miss Kashia.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Back to you, Jolie Lewis.
Thanks, girls. It was great to get an insight into the world of Miss Kashia.
Our final story is about the regeneration of Rail Street.
Thanks, Lewis and Jolie. Hi, my name's Ben.
And I'm Brad.
And we are going to tell you about the new retaining wall and tanks on the west side of the school.
The project has been named the Regeneration of Rail Street, after the devastation of the 2009 Black Saturday bushfires. The regeneration of the west side of the school was funded by Nestle, after Vice Principal Anthony Batista sent a grant application. Nestle has agreed and has donated $25,000.
The new tanks on the west side of the school and an irrigation system were built specifically for the harvesting of water on the roof of the school hall, and are going to be installed by Darren Gray. Peter Drafanic is going to be in charge of the construction of the new enclosed structure to hide the waste bin. Steve Thrum is constructing the retaining wall and will be built as a new area instead of a gravel slope. We also got a donation to buy new seats for the new area and grade 6 area.
Nestle and the school are building native deciduous ornamental trees and plants along the west side of the hall, in garden beds on the corner of Affleck and Rail Street, which Miss Cole and Mr. Batista are going to plant.
This is the finished product. Thank you to everyone for your hard work. Back to the news desk.
Thanks, Ben and Briley. Well, that's it for this program.
Stay tuned for the next episode.